today on Divorce Court.
I feel like I can't trust Steven because he has cheated on me in the past.
I help spice her up and she mellows me out.
I have an issue with Steve and having threesomes because our sexual life should be ours and only ours.
Shawna, I want you to be more selfless and to consider my emotions and what it takes to make me smile.
Steve, I want you to be more romantic and more considerate of how I feel.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Stephen Young and Shawna Helfrich. The two of you have been together for 11 years, engaged for 4.5, and you're worried that you can't stay together, so you've come for some advice from me. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Young. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your relationship and why we're here today?
We came here today because we've been together for so long. We've got 2 children in common, and we've broke up with each other and gotten back together so many times. And during those times, we both slept with other people and have done some really hurtful things to each other.
Mm-hmm. And you're trying to get it together so you can stay together?
That's right.
Okay. What do you think is the primary problem? What's the biggest thing that causes you consternation?
I would say it seems that we're just 2 totally different people. I kind of came from a rough background, and she came from kind of a sheltered background, which has really helped our relationship be interesting, but it's caused some conflicts also.
Cause some conflicts. I understand that this is what popped out at me. For that a period of time, you had no sex for 2 years.
It was 2 months.
2 months?
2 months. That was a
typo. Oh, well, then that doesn't impress me. That I get. That I get. You say you started having problems 6 months after your first child was born. What happened then?
To me, it felt like maybe she became tired being a new mother, and it really led to a decrease in our sex life.
Yes. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've been through something really tough and rough. Body has changed this age, and you don't get as much as you used to for a while because she's tired.
Right.
Ms. Helfrich, I'm going to ask you, what do you think are the main problems in this relationship?
I think the main problems would be that he's left me for other people, and we've broken up, like he said, and
Well, my understanding is that he cheated on you with a family member's ex. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Tell me how you found out about that and what happened after you found out.
I had taken our daughter trick-or-treating. It was her first Halloween, and I was working at the time too, so being a first-time mom, I took her downtown trick-or-treating, came home, went to sleep. He ended up going out, and I don't remember if he had brought it up to me that night, but the next day he had showed up at my work, told me that he was breaking up with me, had the girl waiting around the corner for him, and he had moved into another girl's house to be with her, and then had left me at home at his mom's house.
Mr. Young, did that occur?
It did.
How did you manage that? I mean, how did you make it okay for you to do something like that to somebody?
At that point, I felt like we were roommates. You know, there was no intimacy. We were bickering constantly, and then I went out to the bar and talked myself into being a fool.
I like that, Mr. Young. So, what did you do in response?
Out of anger, I'd slept with one of his family members.
So y'all kept it real close.
It was completely out of anger.
Yeah. Oh, I understand that. I understand that. Now, did that cause a rift in the entire family, or the two of you are the only ones that cared?
Well, it was a secret for
a while.
Probably about 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, and so that's really when I started to feel like I'd have some trust issues, and she is probably, out of all the women I've ever met, the one I could trust the most, and that just hurt me so bad that it was tough for me.
You didn't see the equivalency there at all, that you had hurt her by doing something very, and the way you did it was just hard and ugly.
Right.
But all you felt was your hurt. Do you see that part?
Right, I do.
Yeah.
I definitely do.
I understand that you guys have broken up and gotten together 1,000,000 times, oftentimes because he's found a new woman, correct?
Yes.
Why do you keep taking him back?
I love him. I feel like if there's ever a problem, if there's ever anything that's going on, he's always been there for me. He's never judged me. He's always been somebody I can open up to, and he's been my best friend.
Yeah. Good friends are wonderful. You never have enough of those. Don't sleep with them if they don't know how to behave. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Young, I'm going to ask you, why do you keep coming back? And what happens once you get back that causes you to leave again?
We'll be apart for a while, be broke up, and I start seeing how, you know, the other girl is nothing compared to her, and I start really glorifying the family, the idea of having a family stick together. And we seem to repeat that cycle.
It seems to me, Mr. Young, you like the situation that you're not currently in. When you're with her, the other women look good because there's problems with her. You get with the other women and then she looks good because there's a family over here. So whenever things get rough for you, you run over to the grass is always greener on the other side business, and you don't address the difficulties that you had. You want to be comfortable and fine all the time, and as soon as you're not comfortable and fine with one chick, you get you a new one. You with me on that one?
Yeah, I totally see the point there, and I could agree with that to a certain degree.
To a certain degree.
Yeah, that for me, it feels like after a while, our relationship just becomes, you know, non-existent. I mean, I agree with the fact I seem to go back and forth and always looking for that greener grass.
The problem with that is you're running from your problems. You're not trying to fix them. You know what I mean? You know, you love her. You think your family is great. But when you run into trouble, you don't say, "Okay, we've got this problem. Let's fix it." It's like, "Oh, this chick isn't bothering me. Let me go see her." That's where you're running into trouble. I'm finished with that. So now I'm going to ask Ms. Helfrich there why you believe Mr. Young has an anger problem.
There was a time where we were out of friends, and he had drank too much, blacked out, didn't remember, and my son was halfway off the bed, and she's like, "Oh, how cute. Well, let's take a picture of it." And he's like, "I'll give you something to take a picture of," and showed his parts.
So, Ms. Helfrich, you say that Mr. Young has an anger problem. Why don't you give me a few examples, a few stories about his anger and how it's affected you?
He came home from work. There's things that will bother him. I don't always know what they are. And he'll come home and complain to me that I haven't cleaned the house, or that the dishes aren't done, or dinner's not ready to be made, or it's not figured out. And he'll just like, I don't know, he kind of
Everything is a big deal? Are you saying that his response is disproportionately large to the nature of the problem?
He just lets things get to him, and then he like throws it out onto everybody else.
Right. Mr. Young, what is your view on that particular issue?
For me, I think I'm too old-fashioned for today's society. You know, I feel like I wish I could just go to work, bring home the bread, and she would make it for me. But that's unrealistic in today's society. And
so you think most of your anger stems from the lack of having a more 1950s style household, you know, wife come in with the pearls, got dinner ready, don't bother you, have sex with you, and then next time you see her, she's in the kitchen making breakfast?
Well, that would be amazing, but it would, but that's extremely unrealistic. And
Ms. Helfrich, you also say that alcohol plays a role in
Yes.
the problems at home. Tell me about that.
When he drinks too much, he gets really vulgar, and his filter is there's no filter at all. There was a time where we were at a friend's, and he had drank too much, blacked out, didn't remember, and my son was halfway off the bed, and she's like, "Oh, how cute. Let's take a picture of it." And he's like, "I'll should give you something to take a picture of," and showed his parts, and doesn't remember it. And I would,
He didn't moon her. He got a frontal assault.
Yes, I was extremely embarrassing.
For me too, trust me.
Mr. Young, do you remember doing it?
Not at all.
You have no recollection whatsoever.
No, I thought they were making up stories in the morning, and then there was enough people to tell me that they were
That
really
it did happen. That it
Yeah.
actually happened. Are you concerned about the amount of alcohol you consume?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely have really struggled with an alcohol problem, and now I don't get drunk anymore. I'll come home and want to drink 2 beers, but it's every day I want to come home and drink 2 beers, and that's I can't afford that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so I don't get drunk and act like a jerk anymore, or act like I'm
So
crazy.
you scaled back.
Right.
I think you need to applaud yourself for scaling back. Not everybody does. I think you are a bit of a perfectionist, and you also hold yourself to very high standards. You can't give yourself a break even when you've done something good. So give yourself a break, Mr. You've done a lot of bad stuff, but when you've done something good, which is like backing off the alcohol, that's, take a high five on that one and feel good about that.
A couple of years ago, he actually went to AA, decided to quit drinking and did AA.
Yeah.
I was all set not to like it. See there? That's what a man does. He looks at a problem and he handles it. He doesn't run off into another corner. That's all day grown man act. Now I want to talk about disc golf. I don't know what it is, and I certainly can't figure out why it's a problem.
Yeah, he's good about that. It's just like, the schooling stuff and the
Right.
doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments.
Because he really doesn't think it's his gig. Because he's Ward Cleaver. Doesn't understand why it's not working out that way. But he really, truly, in his heart of heart, doesn't think it's his gig. So what is disc golf?
Same rules as regular golf, but with frisbees.
Okay. And why is it a problem?
It's only a problem when it's excessive, when it's like an all weekend thing that he does. And then it's like I end up going almost a week and a half before I actually get to sit down and spend time with him.
Mr. Young, your response to that, is that true?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll go a whole month without playing, and then I'll go a month with playing every weekend. And so there's not really much consistency or a routine, kind of a schedule that I have set up.
I think I know where your tick is. You got a tick up there. I'm going to tell you about it. A whole lot of different areas, but same tick.
Okay.
Your family doesn't like him. Tell me what, well, not that I can't figure it out, but tell me about the conversations you've had with your family about Mr. Young there.
There was an incident that I had with my family member that when he had left and took the kids to California, we had an agreement that he would go there, have a job, work. I was going to stay in Oregon, work. We were going to go to Montana to be together up there because he had people up there that he knew. And I had a family member tell me that it was completely wrong. I was going to end up losing my kids. I was going to get custody taken away, and it was stupid for me to think that that would be okay and that I should just take my kids and I should leave him. And
yeah. While we're speaking of the children, you think that Mr. Young needs to step up a bit more with respect to the children, that his game isn't quite as solid as it should be. Why do you say that?
I feel like I'm kind of the stay-at-home mom. So my job's always the least important. If the kids are sick at school or something happens at school, I'm the one that goes and handles it. I'm the one that goes and picks the kids up from school. If there's a no school day, I'm the one that takes the day off to make sure that they're, that they're taken care of, and I would just be nice to be able to share that responsibility, to know that, my job is just as equally important. It might not be the best job, but I'm still working too. And I get, you know, my work isn't thrilled with me all the time because I have to call in because of my kids, and I've had my job threatened because of it.
Yeah. Do you participate as fully as you think you should?
I believe I do. If she's referring to going to the doctors and stuff, no, I don't participate there as much. But as far as playing with them outside, taking them to do fun activities, teaching them how to cook and things like that, oh, I'm all about that.
Oh yeah, he's good about that. It's just like, you know, the schooling stuff and the doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments.
Because he really doesn't think it's his gig. Because he's Ward Cleaver, doesn't understand why it's not working out that way. But he really, truly, in his heart of heart, doesn't think it's his gig.
But yeah, he does. He gets out with the kids, plays soccer, disc golfing, takes them out, does things.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
He plays with the children. She wants you to raise them.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you what I think you guys ought to do. Mr. Young, I do believe you have a full plate of free-floating anxiety with a side of jerk. You're a perfectionist, you like things a certain way, and you get anxious when everything isn't perfect. You get upset, so you self-soothe. You find other women to soothe. You drink alcohol to soothe because you don't know how to self-soothe. And everything gets on your very last working nerve, and you don't know what to do about it. You have to be a better emotional manager. Just like you went and went to AA to have that alcohol thing taken care of, you need to go to a psychologist and have them work through that free-floating anxiety, because there is a method to getting over it. If you take care of the free-floating anxiety, we can dial back on the jerk too, and then you can keep your woman. Ms. Helfrich, what I would do if I were you is never stop improving my economic game. I understand that you're a cashier right now, and that's fine while he's doing that. But you should be educationally, professionally motivated to continue to uptick, because I don't know if he can fix whatever's wrong with him. And if he doesn't learn how to self-soothe, you're always at the mercy of his latest issue. And he don't even know what it is. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I would always be ready to pluck him out of the equation at any point in time. And I tell you what happens. When a woman gets herself centered and together and got her, you know, back to the wind and ready to go, they start acting better. They start to behave. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because sometimes they act as badly as you let them. And if you say, I'm satisfied and I need you, you're letting them act badly. But you're saying, like, I'm unsatisfied and I do not need you. It's a whole nother story. Good luck to the both of you. This matter is adjourned.
Thank you so much. I really realized that my emotional state needs some help, and I'll definitely go and look at getting some help for that so I can treat her the way she deserves.
After being on the show today, I really want to maybe work on counseling and work together to be able to make our relationship work and be together as a family.